We're live.
Okay, this is the meeting of the Senate Education Committee on January 17th. Yeah, January 17th, 2024. We've just been in a joint hearing with House Education, listening to the Agency of Education give the committees a presentation about governance. And so we're here really just to kind of debrief and talk a little bit about the next few weeks of scheduling. And before we forget, Senator Weeks has volunteered to take on the task of overseeing all of us collectively, our engagement with confirmations. And we have one thing we should think about is, does anybody know these people whose names I will read? So one of them is Melissa Dawson, has been appointed by the governor as a member of the Community High School of Vermont Board for a term until 27. And so the name is Melissa Dawson. Does anybody know Melissa Dawson?
From where?
It doesn't say.
Oh.
Yes, it does. Putney.
Not to be confused with Pulteney.
Not to be confused with Pulteney.
Or Parnell.
Or Proctor, or Pittsburgh.
Well, Notter's on that side of,
That's true.
yes,
That makes sense. Okay, so we'll think about
Senator Hashim.
Senator Hashim for perhaps Melissa Dawson, so you're making that note, Will.
Sorry.
So what I'll do, I'll create a matrix of the position nominees, and it'll include addresses, it'll include points of contact, contact information and such. And I'll just keep that rolling. I'll share it with you. We'll post it, but that's the easy way to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'll give you this, and the assumption is, unless for some reason he declines, that Senator Hashim will do that one. We have, and actually, before we're done, since you did this last year, you've got more experience with this, and I just talk a little bit about the process that it's like you did want to employ with this. For instance, conversations and how the committee's involvement is, et cetera. Caleb Greenwood of Troy as a member of the State Board of Education.
My recommendation is, unless somebody puts their hand up today, we'll just leave it on the sign.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it on the matrix, and people can, and then if no one takes it, then we'll delegate.
We'll delegate, okay. Joan Lennon, L-E-N-E-S, Lennis, perhaps, of Shelburne. As a member of the Community High School of Vermont Board.
That's, Senator Grant Hinsdale's from,
Yeah, you're right, that's Chittenden County, so maybe we'll think of that as the presumption. This one, frankly, I guess it would make sense for me to take. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. First name is Linda, and it's Sarnajaki, perhaps, of Weston. And Weston is in my neck of the woods, so I can do that. I'm sorry, by the way, what's that for? Doesn't say. I didn't say what the appointment was for.
Board of Libraries.
Okay. So you can put me as on that one.
And what do we do? If we take them, we just.
Well, we'll talk, Senator Reese, we'll talk about that in a minute. What the job entails. We're making assignments first, then we're telling you what you're getting. So, and then James Saunders of Berry as a member of the Board of Libraries. If we have anybody, we don't have a natural for that one, but so we'll figure that out. So it would probably be good to the extent that Senator Hashim, Senator Hinsdale, and I are each doing one. It would probably make sense for everybody to do one of those. If the first of those makes particular sense to do. And
Well, I know Senator Douglas lives up by Troy, I think, so I could tap into his knowledge of maybe if he knows who was asking about the one from Troy.
Well, let me,
Yeah, you're in charge.
okay, let me outline what happened. So this will be kind of a continuous flow through the session, both sessions. We receive these names, we'll reach out to the governor's office, we get a phone number, unless folks already know who these folks are. You contact, if you're assigned a nominee, you contact them, we can give you some kind of draft questions on, the types of questions that you would ask such a nominee. You call them up, and then you get a copy of their resume as an example, or look them up online at LinkedIn or whatever, you get an idea of their background. And then you need to be able to brief the committee, okay? Short brief, 3-4 minutes. Do they want to do it? Do they not want to do it? Is their background appropriate for the assignment? Okay?
Yeah.
And then we vote based on that briefing, whether to continue with to support the nomination. And then it goes up to the Secretary of the Senate's office, and we would vote these on the floor. But typically, let's say there's 6 here, maybe 5 of them are for whatever reason not contentious, but the extra one, somebody for whatever reason wants to deep dive it and brief it on the floor. The person who originally contacted the nominee would brief on the floor, the same material, the resume, the status of the conversation, whether they actually want to do this position or not. And then there's potential for debate. And some are contentious, most are not. But there are some that are, and they take a bit of time.
What was the date of the 24?
December. Oh,
December, yeah.
After the last, this one's May,
24.
July, March, yeah, so.
So they're already doing the job in a lot of cases that they haven't, these things are just catching up to us.
So, yeah, that's just part of the conversation you have with them and say, hey, we were out of session. I'm a new guy, just go through.
So how does it work with the ones that are non-contentious? Is it almost like a consent item?
Yes, so they're listed they're grouped, and we vote as a group, we vote as a list, and it could
On
be,
this committee, right?
no, this committee, we review each one, a couple minutes, and then we vote. We vote on each one. When it gets to the floor, and this is not repeated in the House, this is only a Senate process, they can be grouped together for, again, whatever reason, the non-contentious list. It could be some Green Mountain Care Board people on a list, and the library, Board of Libraries, and it could be,
Like would be contentious. Board of Libraries.
right,
Yeah.
but you never know. Somebody could have yeah, and then we only though, on the floor, brief and vote. Well, we vote on the list, on contentious list, and then we take the individuals who might be contentious and brief them separately and vote on them separately.
Okay. And so we should each, if we do have somebody, as you suggested, that it is theoretically possible that, Board of Libraries nomination could become contentious. So you always have to be prepared to be.
That's correct.
To speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I didn't mention that we also have, for confirmation, Zoe Saunders, as Secretary of Education. We're gonna just let that one sit for a little while. I will probably take that. But we have it, but let's for now focus on the ones that are just gonna be quick and easy and move those along. Especially, it's to the extent we don't have yet the proposal from the governor's office on school funding. Now's a good time to perhaps move a few of these if we can.
Right.
Get it out of the way. More will come, but so okay. So we just had a discussion. We just had a discussion about governance. Anybody have any further thoughts about what we saw today? Not, you don't have to, but just want to provide the opening if somebody doesn't.
I'd like to see something on, lessons learned, like, how do we get from fourth in the nation to, it depends on where you look up the academic standing of Vermont. Some places it's 15.
Senator Hushing is with us.
Hey, there he is. All right.
Hey,
So,
everybody.
Hey,
if it was a matter of it getting away from us because we didn't do evaluations to go evaluate, I think Act 46 was a condition that caused a lot of confusion and a lot of not dysfunction, but new roles and.
Well, perhaps you're suggesting another way, you're suggesting we actually just take some testimony at some point about how health's actually going.
Right.
Because you hear different people say different things, and statistics can be manipulated.
Right.
And so where are we really, and how are our students really doing, both from our own perspective and as they compare to others? That's something we can put on our list. And Senator Hushing, just you missed, all we did before you got in the room here, after we had the joint hearing with the House, but on governance, and then we just talked about a handful of confirmations that we had in front of us. And we actually had one from your county that we tentatively assigned to you. And it's for, what was it for?
Melissa Dawson out of Putney for the member of the Community High School of Vermont Board. Being that she's.
Are all of these on our committee page? I can take a look so I can pull along here.
No. And they won't go to I don't believe they'll go to the committee page, but I'll give you a copy of the letter. I'll give you a matrix, which includes contact information. We'll talk again about the nature of the contact with the nominee. It's not too much.
And just to fill you in completely, Senator Weeks is going to take on responsibility for the nominations and confirmations as they come through the committee, both for assignments and getting people ready and keeping the matrix and making sure they all happen.
Sounds good.
So then we were just beginning to have a brief discussion about debriefing from what we heard today in the joint hearing. And one comment anybody else have anything you want to add from today? Okay.
The only reveal that I heard was that they're adding some higher level positions inside the agency. That's the only reveal of all these conversations we've had over the past week and a half. I thought that was an interesting tidbit that they dropped.
But also signaling where they would like to go in terms of governance and the governance structure statewide. So just that we've been, as we've talked about the last time we met, we're in a little bit of a holding pattern here because we don't have the proposal from the governor's office yet, and yet we want to make sure we're using our time wisely. I think we're in joint hearings for at least all week next week, most likely, depending on whether we start, depending on schedules, either 1 or 1:30. And but then I think we're going to meet, Senator Weeks as vice chair and I are going to meet with our ledge council at just in here at 3 or so, and try to map out the time, use of the time well after those hearings, because those tend to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we have really, I think we should all begin to plan here to be here until 5, and so use those 2 hours to ourselves afterwards and make sure that we're getting through all the things we need to get through. So we're going to sit with Beth and Will and map out. We had a discussion about things people would like to hear. We've got a list of about 15 or 16 topics that we need to hear, and so we're just going to start scheduling them. and keep us moving in this committee. We're gonna be, starting next week, instead of 2 hours, we're gonna be doing 4.
We just brought in one bill from the secretary.
Okay, there we go.
Are you editing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was sitting there talking to administration. I totally forgot what time it was last.
We're just talking about the fact that, at this moment, that, starting next week, we're gonna be in joint hearings, for a couple of hours each afternoon, and then we'll come back here, we'll probably be here till 5.
Okay.
Because we're gonna have the second half of the afternoon be kind of our own separate agenda
Yeah,
about all, at least for now, it may not be directly related to the big elephant in the room, but to all the other things that we need to know, and background we need to develop. And
great. It doesn't need to be on the record, but Will, thank you for sending me the calendar invites. If we're in 2 different places, I guess the most helpful thing would be to put both, but give the full time frame. Because if I see just the full hearing, I mentally do not come here. So that'd be really helpful.
so it's also just with one, relatively speaking, depending on the start, it's either 1 to 3, and then we're here, or 1:30 to 3 or 3:30, and then we're here,
Okay.
depending on whether they have afternoon session or not.
Okay. Are we having witnesses
Yes.
here
Yes.
when we come back to
Yes.
like further? The, okay,
Yeah, we're
great.
gonna
Sounds
be
good.
fully engaged.
Okay.
This is our last Sunday leisurely week,
So leisurely.
as we list this.
No, but you're right. It is
Yeah.
leisurely.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, I don't have anything else.
You'll talk about the confirmation for this.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You don't tell her, yeah, we essentially gave you we here for that
we
discussion?
gave you all 5.
Oh, the confirmations,
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
Love
Well,
chatting.
we gave you one from Chittenden County
Oh, good.
for libraries or something.
Shelburne.
Oh, okay.
So we can show.
No, it's not.
And Senator Weeks is gonna handle, from here on out, is gonna be.
Confirmation.
He's gonna be, yeah, he's
I
gonna
tried it.
I'm gonna forget, and you're gonna.
be in charge
Yeah.
of signing, keeping the matrix, et cetera.
I think it's okay to share this because you have, people probably know in some way, but next week we will see a Senate resolution out of the Rules Committee to allow for short form bills related to education finance only. So you were a House member. I mean, I hate short form bills. I don't really understand them in the House, but it's the idea that you would just put the sponsor, the title, and the description of the bill, and then there's no bill. And that's so Ledge Council doesn't get overwhelmed with work. So we are allowing, or rules passed out for full consideration of the Senate that just related to education finance until May. Senators can elect to do a short form bill and avoid putting an additional burden on Ledge Council. They don't have to, but at least that lets them put some idea out there with the title if they'd like. And, Senator Beck had also been talking to your caucus. I'm trying to talk to our caucus with Senator Baumgartz about understanding the immense pressure that JFO and Ledge Council are under to help us.
We just keep them freed up to work with us.
Yes.
Another way of saying what they're saying. So, if there is nothing else,